So are we hearing that you're no longer homeless? Is that the talk over there?
Yeah, I just got an apartment the other day. I'm like so excited. It was so nice to get all my stuff out of storage. I'm like, I have clothes besides Reebok. It was so nice.
Does your dog love it?
Oh yeah, I really like it because it's like kind of tucked back, but like off the main road, so like you don't really know it's there unless you like kind of go searching for it. And when I was looking for the place, I was like, she's like, is there anything you're looking for? I'm like, is there any like trees or bushes? Like,
what are you gonna do out there, baby?
She's like, yeah, there's one with a tree in front of it. And I was like, okay. And right when I saw it, I was like, okay, this is the one.
That's what's up.
Fair enough. Well, let's talk about the season so far. I mean, we're just kind of getting started a couple weeks in, but from y'all's point of view, chime in. What have you seen so far? Is there anything you've liked, not liked? What's it been like seeing your life play out on TV?
I really liked getting to see everybody's home videos because I talked to some people about it, about their lives, and then getting to see what they were talking about was pretty cool. It was great to have that visual and hearing them talk about it. So that was awesome.
I like that as well, seeing everybody's like at-home video footage, because you hear their stories in the house, but then you actually like, you make a picture in your head, but then you actually get to see it like through the show. And it's definitely different seeing yourself on camera, because you never really see yourself. You only see like a reflection of yourself in mirrors and windows. You never see yourself, so it's like different seeing like what you actually look like. It's weird.
Hearing your voice.
Yeah. Were you guys surprised at like how much you didn't know that was going on in the house? Like there's scenes that I was like, oh my God, I didn't know, like Ariel was having, like panic attacks.
Yeah.
Like that, all that stuff was new to me. So like I was like, oh, I didn't know that. Like how did that happen?
It's like we're watching it for the first time with the audience.
Yeah.
Watching everything play out.
Yeah, definitely.
I find it interesting that y'all two grab seats together over there next to each other.
Oh, this is my buddy. What are you talking about? Foxy Roxy.
She's awesome.
Yeah.
What did you think? I mean, one of the early fights of the season. I guess talk about kind of how you felt after that played out.
I mean, I have a lot of respect for Roxy. I have respect for anybody that I get in the cage with. When you get in the cage with somebody, it's like a bond that you develop. It's a very raw experience. So, I was amped to get in there with Roxy. She's an OG in the game. She's very experienced, so it was an honor. And I had 3 professional fights. I mean, I feel like I had a good time. I feel like I did well, and Roxy got the W. Proud of her. It was a learning experience for me. Like I've been saying, I'd like to see what happens if we get in there again. But we've talked about that on the cool on the back end.
A little challenge over there. Well, I mean, that's definitely a mature way to approach things. Is it that way right afterwards, or did it take you a few weeks or at least a few days to get to the position you're in now, where you're like, no, it's cool, I understand. It was a tough fight.
I mean, nobody likes to take an L. I mean, in this game. But so I had my reactions. I had my upset moments. But you got to learn from those experiences. You can't let them get you down. And everybody handles losses in different ways. I'm not much of a crier. I'm like a, damn it, get mad, But I went up to Roxy afterwards and I told her, if I was going to take an L to anybody in the house, I would want it to be you. So I have a lot of respect for Roxy, and I was glad I got to have that experience. But like I said, it's a lot more that I have to show that I didn't feel like I got to showcase, with the timing of the stoppage. But like I said, let's get in there again. Let's make some shape,
Well, Roxy, let me ask you, because she's obviously giving you the respect and OG of the game. I wonder, was it difficult for you? I mean, obviously you were the veteran coming in, and not only have you been on Tough before, but I mean you've been in the game for a long time. Were there expectations and pressure on you, being that #1 seed? And I mean, what was that role like for you?
I tried not to put pressure on myself. I tried not to think so much of the big picture. I just tried to think fight by fight. And I respect, as she said, I respect anybody who gets in the cage. I believe everybody has a chance to win at any time. Everyone has skills, everyone's strong. So, I looked at the fight with her as just a fight for the championship, Invicta, or UFC title, or whatever, Just do my best, everything I have, see what techniques I can use in the fight, and may the best person of that night win, And sometimes all of your best doesn't come out on one night, Sometimes you're not your best and the other person gets lucky, or vice versa, or whatever. So, you know, a fight, there are many things that happen in the fight itself, leading up to the fight, you know, physically, mentally, you wake up, you feel crappy, you didn't sleep, whatever. So all you can really do is do your best. And yeah.
All right. Maia, I want to ask you, I know I was really looking forward to your fight. You two had some of the best interviews of the whole time we were in the house, but turned out to be a very tough opponent. What has your experience been like? Because you know, you had this dream, and then you run into a very, very tough competitor that I don't think people expect.
Big wall. You know, I was pretty confident going into the fight. You know, I knew what Sajara wanted to do, and you know, she executed it well. And like they were saying, you know, sometimes you're not able to bring all of your best in one night or one day, and that's pretty much how I felt. I wasn't able to bring the best me into the cage at that time, but she was great. And then just fighting, I learned a lot.
I always wonder what that experience is like because, I mean, we don't know. There could be injuries, and there's always a chance you get back in the tournament, right? But what's it like for you, you know, because you're in the house and you know you've got weeks ahead to stay there, and at that moment you're like, what am I doing here? Like, am I chasing the dream? Do I want to go home? Do I miss my kids, you know?
Absolutely, but it is still my dream, and I'm still chasing it. And a lot of, you know, my coaching staff helped me a lot. He's like, all right, you know, you took that loss, but we still have 4 weeks to get better. Now I have, you know, a lot of time to get better before I get back into the cage. So, you know, we'll see how that goes. I'm sure it'll be a different fighter when we get in there.
I think that's one thing that's sort of cool about this season is that right now there is no division. It's, you know, there's going to be a flyweight fight this weekend, obviously, and there have been a couple here and there, but the opportunity to stay in the UFC is a lot bigger given that, I guess, the weight classes that developed as of yet.
Yeah, I mean, and it's going to grow, and it's going to, you know, a lot of things are going to get shaken up. So, you know, I think we're all pretty focused and goal-oriented right now. It's still up for grabs, you know.
And what's it been like for you watching the scene? We haven't seen you fight yet, right? I mean, we're a month and a half into this thing. We're still waiting to see you fight. So what's it been like for you watching the show and thinking, you know, trying to keep your result under wraps and all those things?
That's been pretty easy, not letting anyone know what's really happened. It has kind of been weird. It's been like a long, like every week everyone's like, what are you fighting? What are you fighting? I'm like, not yet, you know, and so that's one thing that's been difficult, but I'm excited. It's, you know, kind of made the process a little bit sweeter. I have to like sit on a little bit longer, and then it will be more exciting when it comes.
You talked about finding a place to live just when you came in.
Yeah.
So that road and finally having some place now to call your own, what was that process like for you after you got out of the Ultimate Fighter?
When I got out of the Ultimate Fighter house, I went straight to Kansas City to pick up my dog Bruce, and I stayed there for like 3 weeks, and like by the end of it I was getting pretty antsy. I was like, I need to get back and like start looking for a place and, you know, get my ducks in a row. And so when I got back, it was kind of a empty feeling, not coming back to like home, but I was staying at one of Misha's condos that she's kind of trying to furnish and fix up, and so I was able to get my bed out of storage after a couple days, and I just had all my like the Ultimate Fighter boxes. I even had like food from the house still, and so
I took 4 peanut butters.
I know you can take food from the house when it's over.
Yeah, you
we were
can.
so,
the list was a little ridiculous.
Stuff.
Yeah, we didn't care about the clothes. We just wanted all the food.
Are you
So
doing special orders?
We're like,
they were cutting us off like, okay.
Yeah, by the end of the week they were done with us. So it's actually just been like a couple days now that I've had all my stuff. So it's like weird seeing all my clothes and like stuff I forgot about because I just got so used to having that like suitcase of clothes in those 2 boxes, and I was like, what do I need all this stuff for now? Like I've been used to having only a small amount of stuff, and so it's good. I definitely feel a big sense of relief, and like my life's back in order.
That's awesome. I always wonder, every year when the Ultimate Fighter comes around, you get media like ourselves debating, does the show still have a purpose? Does it still have a place? I mean, it's 26 seasons in. I guess from your point of view, all of you, anybody wants to weigh in, I mean, can you say what the Ultimate Fighter means? I mean, do you feel like it still is an important part of the sport, of the UFC, of the growth of MMA?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, the Ultimate Fighter's produced some of the best fighters in the UFC, the most memorable fighters in the UFC. So I mean, it's definitely serving a purpose. It's a great catalyst to, you know, jumpstart, you know, unknowns and kind of push them into the limelight. So it's great. It's great for us. It's great for the, you know, the MMA community as well.
I think it's just great for the fans to have something else to watch between fights, and I think it's a good way for them to get to know all of us and other fighters, and then you can really connect with people, because so many times you just see them in a post or a pre-fight interview, and that's such a raw moment on each end, and so you get to see us at a more real moment and who we really are as people. And sometimes you don't get to see the whole story because they're only showing certain things, but I think the home videos, I think that was a really nice touch instead of sending guys out to film. So I definitely think the way they've been morphing the show over the years and keeping it up to date with, you know, the direction the UFC is going, I think it's been really beneficial, and I don't see why they wouldn't, you know, keep it going as long as they can. It's a great show. They've had guys working on the show from the very beginning, and I think that says a lot. Anytime a business has employees from the beginning till present, when it's been going on that long, I think it says a lot about the way the productions ran, the way the producers care for the fighters and make you feel comfortable at vulnerable moments. It's a hard thing to do, and we all experience moments where we were like, fuck this, we want to go home, like what the hell are we doing here? And I think the producers do a really good job of like kind of talking you down, and it's just it's an unbelievable experience that you'll always like hold close to you.
Were you all surprised that so few active UFC fighters tried out for the show with a belt on the line? I know Lauren obviously is an active fighter, but personally I was a little bit surprised with the belt on the line. There were more women from the strawweight and bantamweight divisions respectively trying out.
Yeah, I was really surprised by that as well. I know I saw some interviews where some girls thought that they shouldn't have to go through that, and I thought that was a little bit ridiculous. Like, that's such an awesome experience to get fans. It's a belt, like the whole show together, to be able to say you were on The Ultimate Fighter, I think is a very big deal. There's only a group of fighters that are able to say that, so I think it's a big deal.
I'm actually not surprised because it's really hard.
Actually, it's not for everybody.
No, so
as a veteran,
yes, as having done this twice. If you're already signed to the UFC, great. Then you get, you know, a number of fights, and then you can fight for the belt, as opposed to, you know, taking the chance. I mean, of course, you do want a title shot, and this is kind of like a not a speed course, but you know, you get a faster opportunity.
You have to take all those fights in a shorter period of time. Instead of having those four
That's
fights
true.
over like a year and a half period of time, you have them within a few weeks of each other.
Plus, you have to drop your life. Like, people probably have families and jobs and whatever. Like, you have to drop all that. Like, how many people can really do that or want to do that? So that's probably a big consideration too.
Yeah,
it's pretty raw. It's not.
Did you have reservations about putting yourself through that again? I mean, obviously, you know, you've done it, so you know it's tough being in the house and being on the show. But it's also a great opportunity, so you can't really turn it down, right?
If I were already signed, I might not do it again, but you know, I really wanted the opportunity to fight for the UFC again, so there was no question in my mind I had to do it.
How has the experience changed from the last time?
I think the way it was put together was the same, just the cast was different, and that made a big difference. I feel like I made friends with everybody on the season, and it was, I wasn't constantly injured this season like I was in my past season. That really didn't get any coverage, but yeah, I liked this season better.
Are there more or less comforts than you had before, or is it the same?
More, like they brought in massage therapists for us. That was awesome.
How did the performances play a factor in everything with the show in terms of recovering and rehabilitation? I know you got injured on the show. So you can probably speak on that.
Yeah, that was pretty awesome, having somewhere to go where they work with fighters directly and are familiar with the injuries that we all were getting and prone to, and so that was nice. And it's just nice to have somewhere other than the UFC gym to go to. You only see the house, the gym, and this place, and so it was kind of a nice thing to add into. And I think it was just a good way just to like get your mind on something else and have, you know, the help and the nutritionist and everyone.
And is this place still open to everybody after they've done shooting the show?
Yes, I believe so. We're here. They have to kick us out.
The last time you were on the show, you had two coaches that were constantly bickering, constantly fighting with each other. How is it different now with Justin and Eddie? And it seems like they've been a lot more cordial, and it seems like they focus on you guys more instead of each other.
It was so nice to not have the coaches fight each other, like bickering at each other, honestly. It was way less stressful for us. I was actually kind of worried that maybe it wouldn't be as popular on TV because of that, because I know people like drama in that way. They were very competitive, like Justin and, well, but but still, like, they weren't as heated as the former coaches, my former coaches, so it was really nice.
What's your experience like with the coaches? I mean, you know, all of you guys dealing with coaches, coming from different gyms and having to deal with them. I know Lauren had a problem with how Eddie pushed the girls and how he pushed you guys. So, tell us about your experience with the coaches and how that worked out.
We had a great coaching staff.
Yeah.
I mean, I think all around, all the coaches
all
were
blue
really
team.
Yeah, Team Gage was awesome. They are really easy to vibe with. Those guys are so laid back, and they're just an awesome group of guys, and I can see how they all click and they complement each other well. And it was just even really apparent at tryouts when we were doing the team pick. Justin and his guys were kind of joking around, like had a more like fun like vibe to them, and Eddie did seem more serious, and I think that has been like kind of portrayed. And I think it was just I had a great experience with the coaches. It couldn't have been any better.
Yeah,
to
it's
be
definitely
honest.
two different dynamics. You have, you know, Justin's more giddy and fun-loving, keeps that, you know, energy up, and Eddie's been around a long time, so he's very
old school.
I mean, yeah, he was great.
I mean, I had a great experience with being on Eddie's team. You know, he brought in some great guys. Mark Henry, phenomenal head coach, and you know, I think that Eddie did a great job considering he's a fighter, and if someone told us, you know, I need you to coach a group of athletes, we'd be like, oh shit, okay. I don't know who pass. Like, what? It's one thing being a fighter and another thing being a coach. You know, it's a totally different skill set. But Eddie did a phenomenal job and did everything that he could for us. You know, to have a worthy experience, and you know, it was great. Justin and his team. You know, I didn't really get to. Obviously, I didn't get to work with them, but they seemed like they were doing a great job, and you know, it's tough turning from a fighter to a coach. That's tough.
And that's why they all had such large coaching staffs between them.
We need a lot of help.
Justin needed a lot of help.
Matt was definitely really great. Matt, I think, definitely kind of stepped in and was kind of more of a head coach role, and I think Matt's awesome, and he has a bright future in fighting and being a coach.
Oh, he's amazing.
Yeah. And Luke as well. Yeah. I can't say enough about all of them. Like, it's like you talk about one and then the other one pops in mind. You're like, well, that one's really great too.
I mean, like Luke's, Luke, just curious the last name.
Codillo.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
And then, Matt and Trevor Whitman was amazing.
Yeah.
Very much. Super excited.
What did it mean to finally see the opening for the 125 division? I mean, especially for someone like, I know Roxanne had been fighting like outside of your weight class when you first came into the Ultimate Fighter house. So, like, what did it mean to finally see that, and to mean that there's more divisions for women now in the UFC?
It was the answer.
Finally. It really,
that's exactly.
You see so many girls dropping out because of getting sick or, you know, the weight cut or whatever it may be, and I think that jump between 35 and 15, that's a big jump, especially for women, and so I think adding that in is going to just open up for people being able to take short notice fights that normally fight at 15, you know, like, it just opens up for, like, all the girls all around. Like, there isn't that many of us still, so the fact that we can maybe jump around a little bit more and not have, you know, fights fall off cards, I think that is a big deal and will keep us more relevant.
It's really inspiring.
Yeah.
It feels that instead of being like, I gotta keep cutting, I have to do this, it's just now, it's just like a big open door for us to just kind of like get excited about fighting again, seeing all these different divisions, knowing that all these other really great athletes are now like going to get introduced into the UFC, and then, you know, because in your mind you're thinking of, oh yeah, there's a lot of potential matchups and things like that. You're like, oh yeah, and so then it excites you.
The 25 division was already kind of making a boom before the UFC decided to do that. There was a lot of girls coming up, and before that was kind of the quieter division, and I think a lot of girls have come up and started making names for themselves in other organizations, and so it just really didn't make sense for them to do another season of 15 and 35 girls. It was like, no, it's time to do a 25 season, and so I think it was an awesome move on their part.
Do you think the reason that it was before it was because so many people are thinking the UFC is my goal and I have to fight at 15 or 35 to get there?
Yeah.
For me, for a newcomer, it was like, damn, this is perfect timing.
Yeah.
Okay. Everything is met. Everything is happening the way it's supposed to.
Could the men's divisions benefit from 165 to 175 weight class as opposed to the jump from 155 to 170 to 185, do you
I
think?
always thought about that. I really think so.
I mean, your husband Joe probably would have been a great fit at 165.
At 65, yeah, I mean, back when Joe, when he won the Ultimate Fighter at 170, I mean, there's a significant difference between, you know, 10 years ago 170 and then right now at 170, and then definitely that jump, you know, if we were able to maybe, you know, introduce another like weight class up there, yeah, there'll be matchups that you wouldn't, you know, necessarily see. Now you're seeing them because, you know, people can get that catch weight in there. So yeah, that would be exciting.
I want to ask you, we got a big women's fight coming up in a couple of weeks in Madison Square Garden with Joanna and Rose. Joanna is on the verge of setting history. She's going to tie Ronda Rousey if she wins with the most title defenses for a woman. From y'all's point of view, as fellow female fighters, I wanted to maybe kind of break down what makes Joanna so good. I mean, why is it that she's been so successful in the UFC? When you look at her, is there a characteristic, whether it's her mental game, her physical game, her tactics, that you see that you admire and recognize as great?
Striker.
That's not bad.
I think that is a big part, that she is such an elite striker, and that is something that the female divisions do lack. There aren't a lot of, you know, high-level strikers like her, where I think she can hang with some of the best guys. Like, she has a great skill set, and her takedown defense, that's how girls are going to beat her. But if they can't take her down, then what good does that do? And then her mindset on top of it. So I think it's just all her attributes together. She's just so elite across the board, and I think it's going to take a while. You know, Rose, I think, is honestly going to be one of her best tests yet. So, and I think that's awesome to see. It was kind of a, you know, a great thing to see that she, like, you know, lost in the finale and then has made her come back, and now she's getting ready to fight the best champion in any female division's had, and I think that's awesome. I'm really excited for that fight. That's going to be incredible. Yeah.
She's talked about moving up to 125. You think she'd be successful in your division as well, or is she too small?
Nope, I think she will. She fought at 25 before, so, and she cuts quite a bit of weight, and so I think her body type, she would probably put on a little bit more muscle and then not have tough as a cut, and you might even see an even better fighter.
Can I ask you a question a little bit out of the conversation we're having? We're doing a documentary for Brazilian television. I would ask you kindly could you introduce yourself? I mean, looking at them.
Yeah.
The name, age, and how you got involved with MMA. Just briefly, name, age, if you're comfortable to say it. But if you could look to the main cameras. Just continue the conversation.
I'll start.
Are you subtitling us in
we are subtitling you, and you can also like continue the atmosphere of conversation if you want to interrupt one another, something like that, please. Thank you.
I'm Maia Stevenson, and I'm 35, and I got into MMA to lose weight and stay in shape. I started with cardio kickboxing. I'm just kidding. No, I was always interested in combat sports, so, and then I took it up.
My name's Whitmire. I'm 26 years old, and I got into MMA going to a small show that they were having at a bar one night, and the announcer ended up asking if any girls wanted to grapple Lisa Ellis, and my hand shot up in the air, and I was the only girl that raised my hand, and so they had me come down there in my jeans, and I grappled Lisa kind of drunk, and was like, man, I like that, I really should do that again. And her and another guy ended up coming up and talking to me after and told me I should really get into it, and so I started driving out to his gym. I ended up taking a fight like a month later, and that wasn't a very good idea, but I just was hooked. I knew that was kind of my calling in life, and here I am like 8 years later.
You have the right attitude. You have the right attitude.
It's like, what? Why not?
I am Shana Dobson. I also answer to Shana.
I told them danger.
Danger.
Miss Dobson.
Miss Dobson. That's what my students call me. 28 years old, even though I don't look it. I started off, you know, I had just moved from the East Coast to Texas, and I was driving around looking for things to do athletic-wise while I wasn't playing soccer. And I found this little boxing gym. Somebody held mitts for me for 30 seconds, and I was like, damn, this is intense, and I'm exhausted. So you know, I became addicted naturally. You know, I think we all have that competitiveness in us where if something's difficult, we want more of it. So, as you guys know, haven't been in the game for that long, but you know, I think I have that little something, and still growing. And you know, this is just a great opportunity for me to show what I do have and why I am who I am.
Eu estou Roxanne Modafferi, tenho 35 anos, eu estou morando na Las Vegas. I got started with martial arts, with judo and jiu-jitsu, and then I continued with kickboxing because I love martial arts and I wanted to get stronger.
Wait. You know Spanish too? Portuguese.
Portuguese. I was like, what are we doing?
Como você aprendeu, I'm being slow, como você aprendeu a falar português? How did you learn to speak Portuguese?
Eu estou estudando português porque eu quero falar com meu professor de jiu-jitsu e esposa.
She said, where's the origami now?
I know! Yeah, Roxy! Why you didn't show us this in the house? I want to learn some Portuguese.
Who else speaks Portuguese here?
Roxy, we're just gonna let her know.
Maia Stevenson?
Bomb.
It's all Portuguese.
I heard you was still.
One last question. Is it okay for you now to eat the sweets? Can you eat the sweets, or is that for all?
It's like one bite taken out of there.
Yeah.
She likes the frosting on
yeah, I mean, as long as it's...
I thought he was asking you.
Yeah, no, I can eat sweets. I mean, I don't eat them all the time, and so when I do eat them, it's exciting, and I walk around pretty light, and yeah, it's okay. It's a treat. It's not a base. It's a treat. My favorite treat, honestly. I really like donuts. It's not non-GMO, and there is processed sugar, so... Monsanto's.
You just ruined the donut.
Don't give me started.
I'm gonna finish it. You wasted. It's okay, I'll eat it.
We'll share. I want to be a staff.
It's grape jelly in it?
I don't know.
What kind of jelly is it?
So maybe one more question. Do you have time? Do you have references about Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu? Do you hear about Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu a lot? And which references, if you have, which ones do you have?
Yeah, tell me.
References.
References like information, history. Basically, when we mention Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, what comes into your mind?
The gi.
The gi. Well, we had a really great Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu instructor on our coaching staff, Vinny. Yeah, he was amazing, and he shared a lot of really great techniques. Learned a lot from him. It was a pleasure being able to work with him and getting to learn his Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu.
Comes to mind to me is sprawl. Get back. No,
get off your back.
Get off your back. No, but that referencing back to my fight with Roxy, it definitely altered my camp, vamped up my ground game. So when I hear BJJ, I think positive thoughts. Nice things.